Okay, let's go ahead and call this meeting to order so we can go ahead and get started. I'd like to welcome everybody today to this wonderful afternoon and appreciate everybody being here. So let's start out here by an open session, call to order. I notice that we have a quorum. And Susan, will you please read the public comment section there for us? Just read that.
Mr. Perez.
No, I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. The board takes public comment on all items in the regular agenda. Public input on a regular agenda item will be taken at its appropriate discussion. Public input on an item not on the agenda or consent agenda may be identified and requested for consideration by the board at this time. The board may request an item to be placed on a future agenda or for a consent agenda item to be moved to the regular agenda for public comment.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Sure.
So having said that, I believe we have some comment from the public.
We have two. I'd like to mention first, we have just come back from Corpus Christi from last week, and we won the state Texas Recreational Park Society Design Excellence Award for the River Project.
Wow.
Congratulations, Carl.
I've been on the board 4 years. I'm off now, and I was on the awards committee for 7 years. I'm off now. But I do know that is one of the hardest awards to win because we compete against cities that have huger budgets and a lot more money to do a lot more things with their projects. So
It's exciting.
we're very proud.
Well, good job, Carl.
Good job.
Good work. Good, thank you.
Well, good afternoon. I work with the rec department. My name's Diana. I'm a rec supervisor, and I was just going to update you with our daddy-daughter, mother-son date night. The event was held February 10th, 11th, and 12th. We sell 700 tickets per night. We sold out all 3 nights. Tuesday night, we had to reschedule due to the weather, and we rescheduled that for February 17th, which was the following Monday. We actually didn't have very many complaints about the reschedule, and not too many were upset about it being on a Monday night, so that worked out well for us. The theme this year was a passport to anywhere, and we had the convention center. It was decorated. I know I saw one board member that was there, and Louis went on Wednesday night. So
yes.
We had it decorated into a couple different countries, Paris, Ireland, Africa, Rome. And so when they came in, they could go get their pictures taken, go to different countries, and then we had some refreshments. The dance was good. We had some pretty good feedback about our DJ. That's about it. Does anyone have any questions about date night?
Diana, since it was rescheduled, do we have a policy in place, do you know, Carl, that if to refund monies, or is that just a straight out exchange for them to just come that following day or that next day or the rescheduled day? Do you know? I think that was the only question that I was asked, is that since it was rescheduled, is there a refund policy that is in place for that?
I don't believe we have a refund policy, and I know that this time we didn't offer any refunds.
Okay.
I think we had one person who was wanting a refund that actually called asking for a refund, and it was because she had taken the Tuesday night off of work
Right.
and she couldn't get the following Monday. And other than that, I believe she was able to sell her tickets anyways.
Okay.
Because we were still selling them. But other than that, nobody really was asking for refunds.
Okay.
So it worked out well for us that we just transferred them over to that Monday night.
I mean, it's an unforeseeable event, and it just took place.
People understand that. I think
Right.
people understand that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I know I did get a call that asked what policy was. I said call 657-4415, ask the Recreation Center, and they'll tell you.
Yeah, I know
Department.
that we were getting calls on our cell phones all day asking if we were going to have it, and I think Mary Ann just made the decision that to reschedule just so that we weren't putting anybody in harm,
Good deal.
no accidents or anything leaving. I know Monday night when we left, I think we got out of there about 9:30. When we left, our windshields were frozen and it was starting to sleet, so I didn't think it was going to be that bad on Tuesday, but I'm glad we went ahead and just rescheduled. The only bad thing was we had to take everything down Wednesday night, and then we had to come back the following Sunday and set everything back up for Monday night, and then Monday night we had to take everything down. But the convention center was really nice. They helped us out with storage, so we didn't have to take everything back to our office store it for the rest of the week and then come back. So that they helped us out tremendously with that.
Well, it was a great event, and y'all did a very, very good job. And
Well, good.
it
I'm
was-
glad you enjoyed. Next year will be our 25th year.
Right.
Oh, wow.
And I think we're going to do Narnia, so it should be a pretty good event. I'm excited about that one.
Good.
Good job.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thanks,
you.
Diana. Okay, any other comment from the public? Let's move over to the consent agenda, and we need to consider approving the January 23rd, 2014 meeting minutes. Everybody had a chance to review those minutes? If so, I'll entertain a motion to approve those minutes.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you. Second?
I'll second it.
Any other discussion, questions, or comments? Let's take a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it, and the motion carries. Thank you. Let's move over to the next item. We have the election of chair and vice chair for the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board. So Carl, if you'll kind of guide us on that.
We have elections every year. This is about the time that our board forms, so we're due for election of chair and vice chair. And I think that's it. And of course, we need to elect somebody in position who's going to be here for the next year.
Okay.
So it's just entertaining motions to.
Okay. Then-
Okay. I'm going to make a motion that we keep Louis as chair and Mike as vice chair.
Okay, so we have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any other discussion, questions, or comments? Anybody dying to take over the chair? Okay.
Good selection.
Okay. Then let's take a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Then the ayes carry. Motion carries. Thank you. Well, thank you for your vote of confidence, and I promise I will do my best to do a great job. So, let's move on. So, consideration of approving a proposal for a dog park as part of the new Red Arroyo Trail project, which I'm really excited to tackle and really excited to listen to. So, Carl, take it away.
As you know, we've talked about a dog park before. We even talked about it at the last meeting when we talked about the different CIP projects that we wanted to forward to the City Council for consideration. And since that time, we've had a Girl Scout who's going to come up and talk in a minute who is offered to help lead the effort to get us a dog park for us in Angelo as part of her Gold Girl Scout project. She has approached the City Council, and she even talked at public comment at the City Council meeting at the last time. And Council, we let Council know that we were going to have this again on our agenda for discussion, and that after that, we would take a recommendation from this board to the City Council, probably at the meeting on the 18th of March. So what I wanted to do is just kind of review what we've talked about, update a little bit more research of what we've done. David Knapp, our in-house architect, is here as well. He's our staff member who helps us with construction projects and help us lead us through those projects. And he's got some information as well, and he can help us guide us through this project. We've talked about two locations, the one by Lone Wolf Bridge, and at that point we were looking at hoping to work with somebody, a nonprofit group, to lease that property. It still is a possibility for a good site for a dog park, but we've been trying to target the area where the Red Arroyo Trail project is going to be developed starting this summer. And as we've talked about before, this is a general location where there's going to be a parking lot. And we've talked about this location for the dog park. The ones that we've seen and researched really have about 2 acres in size. We don't quite have that, which is unfortunate at this spot. It's about a little over an acre. We have a little bit larger piece over here where there will also be some parking added as part of the Red Arroyo Trail project. And we've recently started looking at this site, which is city property, and we'll talk about that. But we could possibly get access into here, build a parking lot, and use this property here for the dog park. Of course, that would be additional cost because we don't have money right now allocated for the driveway and the parking lot. Just right quick, look at other dog parks. This is Wiggly Field in Denton, South Denton. I've personally seen this one. It's very popular. It's quite a distance. I didn't show it, but it's quite a distance from the parking lot. Folks have to walk length of about a football field and a half to get from the parking lot to the dog park. You can see the fencing and the separation of the large dog area. They even have a really small dog area and then a medium-sized dog area. And of course, there's walkways and there's areas where you bring the dog inside an enclosed area, take the dog off the leash, and then enter into the whichever dog park you're going into. This is Camp Barkley in Abilene. I've also seen this one. This is the only one that I have personally seen that it's totally separated, which kind of gave us the idea that we could actually separate ours as well. But this is the small dog, and this is the larger dog. If you're familiar with Abilene, the zoo is just right up here by that large park that has a pond or a lake by the loop. And of course you see the parking, which is fairly close. We do have a video. It's just a minute and a half. Oh.
Memphis! Hey, Mama!
For Memphis, a 6-year-old chocolate lab, she and her sibling Toby now have something in Abilene they once loved elsewhere.
They used to live in Austin, and they loved the dog park, loved getting to interact with other dogs, be socialized, and now it's great that we have this in Abilene.
It was a day for the dogs, as Abilene's first ever dog park, Camp Barkley, opened to a large crowd of furry pets and their owners.
There's nothing that this city can't do when we all work together.
The dog park is located in Nelson Park on the east side of the Abilene Zoo entrance. It's the result of a public-private partnership between the city of Abilene and the park people.
Well, she really loves coming here, playing, and getting to run around with the other dogs.
Oh, I love it. I love it. We went to our first dog park back in Phoenix, and ever since then, I mean, it's great.
These dog owners are glad to have the park available for their furry family members, and like Braden and Keisha, say this is just a first of many trips to Camp Barkley.
Oh, it'll get used, certainly several times a week by me.
The city facility features a 1-acre fenced area for small dogs and 2 acres for large dogs. Pooches and their owners can take advantage of the leash-free dog park from dawn to dusk. For Abilene Television Network, I'm Rick Tomlin.
That's just a quick look at Camp Barkley. I really like the name because there used to be a Camp Barkley just south of Abilene, which was a training ground during World War II. And it's bark for barks for dogs. It's pretty cute. Cedar Bark Park, I haven't seen this one in Round Rock, but Councilman Silvas has, and he's really excited about it. He called me when he visited on a Sunday. He said, we need to get one of these. It's the largest one I've seen, and this picture doesn't even encompass all of it. It has 3 different areas. It has a large entrance area, lots of parking. It even has a pond. There's the entrance. The washing area, this is like a shower. You wash the dog after they get into the pond. Drinking fountains. Fencing, this one shows, well, you also need to consider putting in a maintenance gate so your maintenance folks can get in. This one has a Friends of the Dog Park, which we would want to have as well. Places to post notices and information. Of course, the dispensers for the doggy bags. Here's the pond.
Oh my gosh.
It even has obstacles for dogs to run around or to jump through. This has a kid jumping through. And just to go over what we've talked about before, the public dog parks was ranked number 2 when we had our recent Parks Recreation Open Space Master Plan. Number 2 facility the public is recognized as important to add. We've looked at 2 different locations. Currently, we don't have any money allocated for development or maintenance. If you've noticed this presentation, I increased the figures a little bit because I was getting kind of nervous that we had enough money allocated to the project. So I'm looking at a range of $50,000 to $150,000 for development, depending on where it is. If it's tied in with an existing parking lot, we're looking at the lower end. If we have to add a parking lot, we're looking at the higher end. And of course, maintenance, we're looking at about $8,000 to $10,000 a year. And of course, leasing the property is still also an option. I wanted to mention, let me pull up Facebook. Our public information folks posted this morning, about 7 hours ago, on the city's Facebook page. I have not read all the comments yet, but Brian Groves has. He's with Public Information. You've already seen lots of activity just in a few hours of folks liking the posting. There's about 40 comments. I haven't read the comments, but Brian said there are some negative comments, but the vast majority are folks who speak in support of a dog park, and that's just within a short time. So I encourage you to take a look at these comments as well. I need to look at them too. So how are we going to move forward? Let's see. Need to just kind of mention the CIP process because it also impacts the next item we're going to talk about. But any project that is valued at $25,000 and has a lifespan, it's not just an equipment item or a maintenance item, it has to be considered as part of the capital improvement program. And the capital improvement program was brought into play with the charter election. I can't remember which year it was. By charter now, the city has to go through a capital improvement project process and adopt a capital improvement plan each and every year before the budget process. So as part of our steps in developing a budget for next year, the first step is identifying a capital improvement plan, working all those details out, and having council adopt that. Now that capital improvement plan doesn't fund the projects, it just identifies those projects that the city wants to try to tackle. And I recall that anybody go to the public capital improvement plan meetings, I think when they talked about all the total projects that are listed, I think the value was like $300 million, which is a lot. But of course, there's always a lot of work. You don't always have all the money, so you have to prioritize those projects. So the CIP process kind of helps council prioritize those projects. So the 2 public meetings were held for the CIP process. We've added the dog park to that. We'll see if council adopts it. Of course, getting y'all to make a recommendation will help in that regard. And after that, if it is adopted as part of the capital improvement plan, we have to find the funding to develop it. And that remains to be seen. The good news is that it's a fairly low amount of money that could be, it has more likelihood of getting funded. And of course, there's great potential for partnerships with the business folks that could help raise money for it. So I think it's, a couple of years ago, when the budgets were a lot tighter and we were looking at cuts, it was not the right time. I think the time is now good for a dog park. The only thing that's kind of negative is the drought. The drought kind of puts everybody in a little more conservative mood. So it might impact our next project, but I don't think it'll impact this project. So I'd like to ask Megan to come up. She's the Girl Scout, and let her see how she's going to help get us a dog park.
Hello, I'm Megan Allgaier. I've been a Girl Scout since I was little, and I've got my Bronze Award, and I worked on my Silver Award, and now it's time for the Gold Award. Well, for the Gold Award, it's kind of like the Eagle Scout Award for Boy Scouts. It's where we have to do a project that impacts the community and kind of helps without, not just like a temporary thing, more like a permanent thing. For mine, since I was little, I've always wanted to do a dog park. I go to Austin a lot to visit my dad, and I've gone to dog parks there, and I saw them, and it just kind of inspired me to do this in San Angelo. So I've gone to a couple myself. I've gone to like one in Abilene. I've gone to a couple others, and I feel like it's a very important thing that San Angelo needs. I've been looking up costs. I've been looking up different areas, pretty much everything. and I believe we can get this done with the city and Girl Scouts. We've also been talking to Petco. I believe they have a kind of a scholarship kind of thing that they do for this, that they would give out a grant. Yes. So that's about it. Thank you all for your time.
Thank you for coming forward. This was a great presentation.
So now is the time to ask questions or give us your feedback and make a recommendation.
Carl, I only have one question, and it's really just out of curiosity. In the 3 dog parks that you mentioned, the Round Rock and Abilene, how are they funded? Do you know?
I don't know. We are going to take a site visit to the one in Abilene and visit with the folks in Abilene. I think most of these do have some business support, some fundraising support, or Friends of the Dog Park support, but I don't know if that's how they were totally funded.
Okay, I was just curious.
This question may be for Roger more than anything. If it's out in the Royal Park, Roger, what would the maintenance? I mean, as far as the field soil and the maintenance of the grass and the area out there, what'd you think?
It's not going to be too much of a problem. I think where part of that budget, part of where that 8,000 to 10,000 really comes from is the personnel that it takes to go out, walk the area, keep it clean. We'll have to keep it mowed. Right now, that specific area is being serviced by the stormwater and street and bridge crews, but that may have to change if that's put into a dog park situation.
Okay.
But the soils and things of that nature, I don't have that much of a concern over that. I think a dog park would be good in that area.
Because a lot of it's
both
clay,
areas.
so I mean, it'd still be conducive to making it into a grassy area. and
Correct.
stuff. Okay. Okay.
We'd still have to run our mower through it once in a while.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
And that's what I was alluding to. It may be a different type of mower than they currently use now with the tractor and batwing type shredders. It'll have to change to a different type, possibly to our crews.
Okay. Good. Thank you.
Carl, I know you haven't come up with any really firm plans or any drawings or anything, but knowing the heat that we have in the summer, I didn't notice there were a lot of trees or a lot of areas for shade. Is that going to be considered in that?
That definitely is a factor. Let me back up here. If we tied in over here and here, you have, if we did this, we'd have to probably do both. And I think they might be close enough where you could have the small dog park here and the large dog park here. It's close enough where there is shade close by. And with part of this project here, the parking lot, we are proposing to have a small picnic shelter. What was the size? 10 by 12 picnic shelter. If it's at this location, this picture doesn't show it very well, but and it really would extend over to this area as well. There's a fair amount of mesquite trees here.
Yeah. Now that's behind the College Hills bracket.
Right, and actually be more this way than this way. Parking lot would be here and the dog park would be here. I was going to mention that I haven't seen any of these irrigated. Now, we're not proposing to irrigate either. And most of these, except for Denton, which of course gets more rainfall than we do, most of these are basically turning into dirt. Here's the one in Round Rock. It's mostly dirt, which isn't nice, but it does keep down the mowing and you're not irrigating it.
Well, let's go ahead and tackle this issue, but I know that's by the Arroyo, so I know the floodplain question would be addressed at some point. And so I'm sure we've thought about that a little bit. And
Unfortunately, it's not a building, so.
Right.
And it could flood. Who knows when it could. It's the 100-year floodplain, and it could be, hopefully, in a year or two. It would be nice if we could get a flood. If not, I think what would happen is the fencing would get damaged and may have to be replaced, and the city is self-insured for things such as that.
I have a question, I guess, more for Megan.
Yes, ma'am.
Since this will be your project for the gold, are you going to go out to Petco, or are you going to go around to get money from the
Yes,
public?
ma'am. I also had an idea where, like, kind of at the library, they had the pavers with all the names on it. I thought over by, like, where the rules are or where a bulletin board is, we could have, like, pavers there with everybody's names on it. They could donate money to get their names or a loved pet that passed away put there to raise money.
You're going to take on that responsibility?
Yes, ma'am.
Megan, what did Petco say about when you talk about scholarships or whatever?
I haven't personally talked to them yet, but online there is a grant online that we were looking at.
And do they say amounts or?
I don't believe so.
We've talked to them as well, and we've seen the same grant process. It doesn't state an amount, but I think they're talking $5,000, $15,000, $20,000. It's not all of it, but it's a good start.
What about dog food manufacturers, Purina, IAMS? They might have some kind of grant program for something just like this. And also, I was thinking about perhaps a way to hold costs down for maintenance. Could it be an adoptable spot, like highways, adopt a spot? Could a group adopt the dog park just to help with litter control and other?
That's a good idea.
Oh.
Sure.
Definitely, we would want that to be the case. Friends of the dog park, basically.
Okay. Yeah. Good idea.
I think a lot of the pet places and the pet food places, they kind of like this thing, especially if you give them the opportunity somewhere along the fence that they could put a sign up, or if on a bulletin board, if they could do some kind of subtle advertising, that kind of attracts their attention too. So that's an option that we'll probably hear from them if we approach them.
Hadn't thought about that.
Or
local veterinarians.
We're not opposed
I was
to
thinking of the
local
veterinarian
veterinarians.
association.
Yeah, the vets.
Vet office.
Most certainly.
And we're not opposed to naming rights too. We've done that with other facilities.
Yeah, naming rights.
Nice.
Lots of good ideas.
Lots of stuff to think about.
Lots of good ideas. Yeah.
And Megan, I commend you for
Megan.
doing this. My
Yeah.
daughter received her gold award in Girl Scouts several years ago, and it's a good thing, and I appreciate what you're doing and your effort into this.
Of course. I've always wanted to do my gold award. I've always, at the Girl Scout here in San Angelo, there's like a wall of all the pictures of all the girls that have gotten theirs, or like finished the project. I've always looked up there and admired them and wanted my face up there too.
Yeah, my daughter's on that wall, so yeah, that's a good thing to aspire to, and that's
Nice.
good. Thank you for doing that.
Of course.
I have a good feeling that we're starting to get the right pieces in place to move this forward.
Good.
So if we do take this to council as soon as the 18th, what recommendation would the board like to forward?
Well, first, are there any other questions or any other comments that we need to do, or any specific questions that we need to ask or that the board would like to tackle?
The only thing that I think would be important for us is to kind of identify where it would want to be.
Location.
That's
Let's talk about that. I think this area is a great area. I think it's a good use of the right-of-way property, which isn't developable for much. It's well enough away from residential areas, which you'd want, but it's still easy to get to.
Right.
And if we tie it in with the right-of-way project, the trail project, it's going to be a great place for folks who can go to recreate or to use the trail. And you've got the very popular College Hills unit at Park right here already. So I think we're talking either about this site or this site. Advantage to this site is that it's probably easier to get to, and the cost would be probably lower because we've got funding for the parking lot for the trail project. We don't have funding for this parking lot, which would be basically about $75,000. However, we would have to be split over here, which might be problematic for some pet owners. Over here, it's altogether more so, but it would cost more.
Carl, what's the approximate distance on the one that's further?
From here to here?
Yes.
We would try to maximize the use of space as well, so it wouldn't necessarily look like this. And if there's a little piece of the church owns this property, right, even crosses the right of way. It's a rectangle right here, but we'd use as much as we could. It's probably about the football field distance. More so, I mean, it's from the parking lot to the parking lot, it's probably more than that, but from park to park, it's about a football field.
Carl, on the trail, the walking trail that's going to be implemented, will people be allowed to walk their dogs on the trail?
Yes, on the
So they
leash.
could-
On a leash.
On a leash, they
leash.
can walk their dog, but then they could take a little diversion and play in the dog park, and
Right.
then get back on the trail. So,
It could be problematic if you bring a small dog and a large dog, but you're going to have to split them up anyhow, no matter where you're at. So,
I would have just a little bit of a concern about the parking there at Unidad Park, because I think what you're doing is sharing the parking with Unidad Park.
right, but the project is adding a parking area.
Yeah. Would be to add more parking?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
This shows 2 bays, but I think this one's already been taken out. Right. It's this one that would be added as part of the project. And how many spaces?
On the opposite side, closest to the train.
Yeah, what I was thinking was
It's-
that on really nice days, Unidad Park's parking, you guys
Right,
can't
it's
park.
it'll be packed.
So it would really be difficult.
David says this is about 70 spaces here.
oh, wow.
60 or 70 spaces. And the one that we looked at that could fit over here would probably be about 40 spaces, so not quite as big. But of course, you don't have the park right next to it.
I'm going to come back to the issue of shade, because it's not just shade for the people, dogs need shade too. And if there's more in that area that could be incorporated in the dog park itself, I think that would be a positive thing. Dogs like trees anyways, for some reason, I don't know why.
Would that be a maintenance issue, Roger, or would that, no? Probably not. You got a long, hard-stared look on your face there, Carl.
I'm just trying to think. I mean, in some ways, this is nicer because it's tucked away a little bit more. It's a little bit farther from some of the houses over here and here, a little bit. I've always kind of set my mind on this area. I think it would be very easily accessible. We also looked at this area over here, but of course, that's the driving range. The city leases that to that operation.
Where exactly will the walking trail, where will that be in relation?
I don't think this is quite the exact layout, but it's close.
Hi, I'm David Knapp with the city. If you can follow the mouse on the screen there, from the parking here at the Unidad, there'll be a major trail that will take you to this other parking and bring you to the intersection of Millbrook and College Hills. From that point, you can cross the street, and on this side, we do have a loop. It's like a 1.2 mile loop. You can also continue on that trail all the way down to Knickerbocker. If you go north, up this way from Millbrook, you can follow that, just a single trail, and that'll take you all the way to Sherwood. So I think end to end, there's like 4 miles. And we have in this area here, it's not fully developed trail. There's some existing sidewalks, but this perceived loop is about 3/4 of a mile. So.
Now, would there be in this, by the Unidad Park, this concept, would there be a walk bridge on the ditch, the Arroyo across there?
Yes, there's a new bridge coming right here. It's designed by TxDOT, so you will be crossing at that point, and of course there's an existing bridge right here along this roadway. So,
okay.
These just the big blue blobs are going to be water detention ponds. So when it does flood, it helps clean the water, and so most times they'll be dry, but they will hold water.
I guess we can talk about maybe moving the proposal forward and after.
Determine a location.
Yeah, we'll have to get more specific about the layout.
But first and foremost, we want to propose the dog parks.
Yes.
Yes.
And the logistics will come later, as we get closer to the funding and get in the CIP process and so forth. Correct?
Right.
Okay.
I mean, but yeah, before we construct, we'll have to know exactly where it is in this.
Of course.
All
Yes.
the details.
Of course. Yes. Okay. Any other discussion? Don, you okay?
I'm fine. Thanks,
I'm just. You have that, like, you want to ask me a question type look on your face. I just want to make sure I open the door before I close it. Okay, so then I'll entertain a motion that we move forward and make a proposal for a dog park as part of the new Red Arroyo Trail project.
So moved.
Thank you,
I'll
Mike.
second that move.
Thank you, Mary. Any other discussion, comments, or questions? Then let's vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Public comment?
Aye.
Yes, one moment.
Sorry. Public comment.
Public comment, okay.
Oh.
It's required to call for public comment.
Okay.
Sorry.
Public comment. Haven't been. Let's take a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it, and the motion carries. Thank you. And this will be presented probably in the March.
We've got it scheduled for March 18.
Okay.
We'll let you know if it changes.
Okay. Well, good. Good discussion. Good topic. Thank you for coming today.
Yeah.
Megan.
Megan.
So we're ready to move on to the next item?
Yes, sir.
Which is the discussion of a new multi-generational community center and approval of matters related thereto. Which I know we're ready to tackle that one, aren't we? All right. Well, let's get started. This one I'm looking forward to, too. We've had two good topics in a row. Let's give us a presentation on this one, Carl, and we'll take it from here.
This one is more of a discussion item, but the way I worded the caption, you can still take action, make a recommendation if you'd like. We've started talking about a multi-generational recreation facility in the last few meetings, and we talked about it at the last meeting because we wanted to forward a capital improvement project about it. I do admit that it's more of a dream at this point, but a dream has to start at some point. And what we would like to do at this presentation is kind of give folks, y'all, the public, a little more idea of what we're talking about when we talk about a multi-generational recreational community facility. This is the one that's at Grand Prairie. It looks like a new recreation facility. But the difference is that everybody comes to it. You've got facilities, rooms, activities, programs for everybody, from infant to 90. You've got activity rooms, you have dancing rooms, you have fitness rooms, exercise rooms. You have at least one gym, if not more. More activity rooms, hangout rooms, kitchenettes and kitchens, dining areas, activity rooms, libraries or resource rooms, lots of fitness equipment. And if you've seen the one I've been fortunate or unfortunate to see the one at Goodfellow Air Force Base, and I get jealous every time I see it when I think about our recreation facilities and see what they have out there. They have walking and running paths inside, of course outside. Again, it's for everybody. And this is I don't know if it's a new concept, but it's fairly new to the profession to have a recreation facility where everybody comes. But they're everywhere now. This one is in Tempe, Arizona. Henderson, Nevada. This one also has a pool. Albuquerque. Also Arizona. Size, we're talking fairly large, 40 to 50,000 square feet. That's basically the size of an acre, 1 acre. Cost, we're talking about $12 to $14 million at least. And the annual maintenance cost, we're talking $350,000 to $400,000 a year. Of course, you are generating revenue with your memberships, with your programs. So it's not all born. Hopefully, you make as much revenue as you can that you don't have to be a burden to the general fund. Again, these are the different type of rooms and activity areas that you have. And I would like to mention lots of parking, easy to get to. The different classes. Of course, there's a lot more than that. I want to just briefly talk about location, and I don't want to target any specific one location unless the city already owns that property. But when I think about this, I'm thinking sort of central in San Angelo. It's not necessarily on one side of the city or the other. And when I think about this, this is one of the areas that comes to my mind. We're here at the convention center. So that's Bell Street. This is the confluence of the rivers, North and South Contra. I'm thinking in this area as a possibility, which is it's close to the river, it's close to the sports complex. It's not that close to downtown, but it's not far from downtown. It's close to this neighborhood area. Another location that one of our board members suggested, which is a great idea. Here's the Lone Wolf Bridge. Here's the Fire Training Center. As you know, it's getting designed now to be at a different location, so they would vacate this property. So we could build a trail that connects from the river trail all the way down to Glenmore Park and connect to a new recreation facility at this location. And when we map that out, the facility would be about this location here, which would give plenty of place for parking as well as any outdoor amenities, park amenities. So we want to proceed with this. And of course, this project is one of timing as well. This isn't really on anybody's radar at this point. And it's a large project that needs a lot of money. But to start, we have to have it at least considered as part of the capital improvement program. So that's our first step. So we've submitted that. That's going to be considered to be added as a future project. We're talking 5 years past, unless we get folks really excited about it and they want it sooner than that. Another step we could take is possibly some of the staff and maybe a board member or two could travel to different new facilities and get an idea firsthand of what they are, what they look like, what they have to offer, and what it takes to get it. But with this, you're talking at a bond issue. It's not necessarily a general fund allocation. You need additional funds to fund this. I believe that's it.
Carl, would you not be competing with the YMCA and other nonprofit organizations that are already, I would think,
There's definitely
trying to keep up and keep their memberships?
There's definitely other facilities out there. I'm not sure it would be competition. I think we've got a market that hasn't really been tapped into. I'm thinking this would be marketed to folks in the low mod economic, what's the word? Low to moderate income, household income. So, I mean, they would pay, but they wouldn't pay as much as some of the other fitness facilities in town. So what I'm getting at is it would be tapping into a market that's not tapped right now.
You feel different, Julia? Or?
Well, I think the YMCA reaches out to all incomes and is, reasonably priced, and I don't want to. I feel there is a need for recreational and this type of situation, but I don't want to compete with private entities. I don't know. I don't know if there is room. That would be a big question mark for me.
That's a legitimate question.
Carl, would this replace the other facilities? Would this be?
I wouldn't say they would replace them because we need the gyms. We may downgrade even more what we already offer. Basically, what we offer is not much of the rec centers based on previous budget cuts. Really, we're just offering a shell. We do have some programming going on, but not a whole lot, just because we don't have the money to staff it and run it. But we need the gyms for our activities, our basketball leagues, for our volleyball leagues, for our tournaments. I would not want to lose them.
But would it replace what we do with the seniors now?
It certainly has the potential for that.
How
Yeah,
old
we
would
could-
you say our recreational centers are currently now? I mean, at least over 30, 40 maybe?
Mid to late 70s. So, yeah, you're talking 40 years.
And the centers still don't have air conditioning for the summer. I mean, that's what I'm trying to get to is that.
Right.
How is this going to be any better, though? I mean, if we can't take care of it now, can we take care of it in the future?
I think the difference would be you get the community excited about a new facility. It's hard to be excited about a building that doesn't have air conditioning. It's really just a shell, and it's currently unloved.
And unfortunately, terrible parking, handicap parking is inaccessible. It's not as applicable as it needs to be. And I think the city has just outgrown its facilities at this point. And not to be in competition with the Y or with the health club or anything, but just to offer for the city, and to serve its citizens.
Well, I'm not opposed. I'm just there
right.
are questions that need to be answered.
I agree.
Are there things the multi-generational center would offer that perhaps the Y doesn't, so that it's not exactly, competing? It might offer more. There could be community rooms that could
Certainly,
be leased.
and it depends on what you add to it.
Yeah.
At Kerrville, the Salvation Army had some property in not a very good area. So they went together with the Kroc Foundation, that's the McDonald's. He left it to his wife, and she has 5 or 6 facilities in the United States. That is a multi-generational. It is gorgeous. They have the swimming pool, they have anything you would want at that facility. The Salvation Army got on the ball and applied for it and won the building. They pay a monthly fee, and they have all the rooms that you would need, I guess, for the Kerrville, the size of Kerrville. It is a tremendous place to be. I was just aghast when I went into it. I didn't even know it was there. I was looking for the senior center, which is on the river in Kerrville, a brand new one now. But I go to all the senior centers throughout the state. Every place I go and look, and then I come home and gripe of what we have here in San Angelo. And it just depends on what the community feels about its seniors and what it feels about its kids. Now, we know we feel about the kids because we have so many things in San Angelo for the kids. But this would be something absolutely great for San Angelo. We have to look at it. We're supposed to be kind of a retirement community, but when you look at how many people there are 65 on up, it doesn't get such a huge amount of population there. But this would take you from here to here. And as far as the YMCA, that looks like it's pretty full all the time anyway. We need another place. We need some place that belongs to the city, because a lot of people don't go to the YMCA. And we need something in the area where the kids will participate. I don't think probably in West Angelo that would go over very well, but the area around that you've been talking about would be good for San Angelo seniors, for San Angelo big kids, for St. Angelo's middle kids and smaller kids. I really think we ought to look into it. If Abilene can do it, which they did about 15 years ago, they got a mayor in Abilene who pushed it. And they went from the Rose building to a gorgeous place in Abilene. So I really think it's something we need to look at. That's my piece.
I've got a question, Carl. Does the city own the property of the Paseo between the current facility where your offices are, between there and the restaurant?
Yes. And it was designed to be an event space. And it is used as an event space, but not as much as I think it was intended.
Has that been a consideration as to where a multi-generational facility could be put?
I think that is a possibility.
It's really centrally located, for the city.
Right.
Well, and it would tie into the pool as well. I mean, because you'd be in that same area.
And where exactly were you talking about?
It's where the Paseo
okay,
is.
okay.
I think there's still a lot of folks who were involved in the RUDAT project, and that was a result of the RUDAT project. And I think some folks may still be kind of attached to the RUDAT project and the results of it. But yes, it is a large space, and it would fit a facility like this.
That's that field where the Christmas lights end, right?
Yeah. Right.
Well, first of all, is that something that the Recreation Board would like to pursue? Is a multi-generational facility? The location doesn't have to be determined today, like the dog park. But I mean, let's talk about it openly and figure out if the facility is something that we want to put on the radar and put in the CIP process to begin with. And so everybody's opinion is important. And
I think we need to pursue it. I agree with Gloria. I think we need to have something more for our seniors. Like she said, we do have a lot for our children, but I think we need to pursue it. I really do.
Are there such things, Carl, as are there state, federal, whatever grant programs that we can get involved in for this?
Yes.
I mean, Gloria talked about the
McDonald's.
Yeah, the McDonald's, the Croc people, and even the Salvation Army, for that matter. Is there programs we can put into to
I'm sure there are. Lots of
go forward with it?
There's definitely grants. I don't know of enough grants to pay for the amount that we're talking about, but there's enough grants that could help get us a couple million. And it could be a project that the Area Foundation may help raise funds for, maybe after the SAPAC project.
There are federal grants
Performing
available.
Arts Center.
There are federal grants available through the Health Resource Services Administration that can be utilized for projects which are health-related, and I do believe that the recreational service is health-related. So there are resources that can be at least tried to get.
Exactly.
A benefit might be the multi-generational approach in my job and at my church. When we've had the children do something with the older adults, it's a benefit to the children and the older people. And could that be offered where there would be interaction with the little ones and the older ones, where they're interacting together? That would be a great benefit.
I think that's part of what it's all about.
Yeah.
Of course, I think you'd want to have some areas,
separate areas, certainly.
where if the seniors just want to get away and not be
with the kids.
They could do that. But if they want to join in with the kids, yes, that's what it's all about.
That'd be great.
Well, we don't have to take a vote today. This is strictly it can be strictly discussion.
Right.
But I know for me personally, I would like to see something like this at least put on the city's radar, so we can put a bullseye and try to get after it at some point. But it's just discussion today. So,
yeah, I don't think we would be doing
right.
I don't think we'd be doing what we're supposed to be doing if we didn't move it forward.
Amen.
Exactly.
That's what we do.
That's what this board is about.
Right.
Is there a need? I'm trying to think of the SIP process. There's a way, isn't it? Since they're just doing SIP for next year, for the budget year, does that mean that you couldn't propose an addition to it until next year?
Right. The way I submitted it for this year is as a future project.
Future project.
Not envisioning it getting funded in the next 5 years. But next year, if we looked like it got more probable that we might want to tackle it in the next 5 years, then we could move it to within the funded range.
Okay.
Well, I'd
Okay.
like to see you introduce it as a future possibility, maybe
Yes,
at the
ma'am.
18th meeting, so they can be thinking, no,
Well, it'll be in there as part of the CIP process, and council, I think, votes on that in April.
It probably would really need to be a separate agenda item, honestly, if you're going to present it to city council.
Well, at some point, I agree with that, but the first step is to get it in CIP.
Yeah.
The dog park, I think we're a lot closer to making it happen the next year or two. But I agree with you. It's simple. We got to have it a separate agenda item. But I have a question of when that timing is.
Yeah, it is such a large project and such a, that I think it needs focus.
I'm not worried about it, Carl. When Mike wins the lottery, he's just going to write the city a check, and we'll just have it funded. And
That'll be a big lottery.
When I win it, I have 2 words to say: I quit.
I'm right with you. I'm right with you. Okay. So, everybody okay?
Great. Go
Okay.
for it.
Then, anything we need to, if that being said, then we can move on to the next item, which is discuss future agenda items.
I did want to mention, I don't think I emailed everybody. I think, if I haven't, I need to, because our March meeting has to move the date, because there's going to be a conference in the convention center. So I'll email everybody for an alternate date.
Okay. So then, that's it? Anything, anybody else? Anybody? No? Okay, then let's make a motion to adjourn and get
So
this thing.
moved.
Thank you so much. Second?
A second.
Thank you. Okay, we're adjourned. Great meeting today. I appreciate everybody's input.